All right. Welcome back. This is the Santos Show. I am your host, Justin. Sammy will not be joining us today. Today is actually his birthday on Halloween. Everyone go ahead and wish him a happy birthday. He turns 30 today. All right, we have a lot to talk about today. Going through the trade deadline, going through the week 8 summary. We have a lot to talk about, and I have a window up for you guys just to look at some stats if you're interested. All right, without any further ado, go ahead and hit that notification bell, subscribe, and we'll see you guys every Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the trade deadline. All right, so a lot of news that came out today, but before we get into today, let's go ahead and talk about yesterday because there were some trades that happened yesterday. We have the Seahawks and the Giants, as you guys can see right here. We have the defensive lineman Leonard Williams getting traded from the Giants to Seattle. The crazy thing about this is the Giants didn't really do too bad here. Um, he was on the last year of his contract. He didn't really do anything. They get some draft capital back. They get a 2024 and a 2025, both pretty decent picks just for a decent defensive lineman that was on the last year of his contract. And then the Seattle Seahawks, they get a nice piece to bolster their defense. They had a injury to, I believe, one of their defensive linemen, Uchina, and it's a highly beneficial pickup for them, especially because it was a season-ending injury, and they just add another piece that could fill in that gap that they needed to be competitive this year. So I give overall a plus to the Giants for getting some draft capital, and I give a B minus to Seattle for the trade. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get to the next one. Next trade we got here, we have the Atlantic Falcons and the Eagles. All right, so the Eagles defense, really good so far this season. They've had a lot of injuries, and they have a lot of pieces, especially on their defense. So getting rid of one here, definitely seems ideal, considering they're gonna get a draft pick back for next year and just make their team even more competitive for the years to come. So overall, I mean, I give both of these grades a B. They get defensive lineman Katavius Street from the Eagles, 2025 seventh round draft pick. Both pretty good pickups. And then Philadelphia receives a 2024 sixth round draft pick. Both pretty good. Pretty good trade here. I give it about a B for both teams. All right, on to the next one. That was our last one from yesterday. Now we're getting to the trade deadline today on Halloween. We have the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders. Chicago receives the defensive end Montez Sweat from the Bears, or sorry, from the Commanders, and Commanders receive a 2024 second round draft pick. This one's tough. I don't see the Bears really being competitive this year. I don't know why they made this trade. It's a second round draft pick. It's not the end of the world because he is a great player, but at the same time, you're giving up, getting a piece that's really good in a really good draft class. 2024 is a really good draft class. I've read all about the players, and I will say that I don't know if this one was completely worth it. So I give the Bears a D grade on this trade. And then for the Washington Commanders, I give them an A grade. I mean, look, they just received a top 40 draft pick that they can use to bolster their team next year. A top 40 pick. I mean, the Commanders aren't bad. Like they've been able to score. We've seen what their team is capable of. They just had some upset losses and they just couldn't get it done early. And I mean, it might be coming a little bit late, but they're starting to get on the roll with their scoring. And if they keep this up and they add some pieces next year, I see them being really, really competitive. So I give the Commanders a grade A for this trade. Just seems like a great trade for them. They get a top 40 draft pick. They got rid of a guy that's on the last year expiring contract, and they didn't really give up much for him. All right. So that was the first trade that happened today. Second trade that happened today was another big one that kind of confused me a little bit. I was definitely confused about this one. Kirk Cousins goes down and he's out for the rest of the season. Sucks, but it is what it is. So I kind of knew the Vikings were going to be on the trading block come today. I just thought they would, in order to be competitive, they had to go out and get a quarterback, and they go out and get Joshua Dobbs from the Cardinals. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray coming back, so it seems like this was inevitable for them to trade away Joshua Dobbs. But like, the Vikings couldn't get anyone else better, and did they really have to get this guy? I mean, really, they got him for nothing. You know, they got him for a 6th-round draft pick, and they traded Josh Jacobs in a 2024 7th-round draft pick. So basically, they got him for nothing. The problem is that Joshua Dobbs played really good in the beginning of the season, but towards the middle of the season, he's been really bad. And it sucks because the Vikings have so much potential. They have really, really great wide receivers right now. Like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Like, you know, they got these guys that just need to be fed. And it just makes me believe that their running game isn't the best. So having Joshua Dobbs there that really can't throw the ball reliable, it's gonna be tough to say what this team looks like with him. I don't know if they stay competitive. I really don't know. But what he's been able to show us on the Cardinals is that, yes, sometimes he'll be able to go. Sometimes he'll be able to get you guys some good throws. But then there's times where he just throws interceptions or fumbles the ball. Like, it's tough to say what this team's going to look like with him. So overall, I give the Vikings a grade C. I don't really see this being higher than a C. Just because Joshua Dobbs isn't that valuable of a player. And then for the Cardinals, I have to give them at least a B or an A. I mean, Kyler Murray's coming back. They have a rookie under him. Just seems like, you know, they get a better draft pick than what they have right now. So they get a 6th-round pick instead of a 7th-round pick. So that's even better in a very good draft class. But the problem is Kyler Murray going to be any good, and can he stay healthy? So this is a tough one. But I mean, kudos to the Vikings for going out and get a quarterback, you know, last minute like that. And then kudos for Arizona getting rid of him for some capital back. All right, so for the next one, we got the Jaguars and the Vikings. Vikings been on the trading block. They're buying and selling. This one we see them selling. So they sold offensive line Ezra Cleveland for a 2024 6th-round draft pick. I give this one a A- for the Vikings and a C+, or sorry, A- for the Jags and a C+ for the Vikings. Ezra wasn't going to get re-signed with the Vikings. The Vikings pretty much made that clear. And for them to go out and trade him for a 6th-round draft pick, not too bad, but, you know, this guy is a pretty good offensive lineman, and he's the left guard. For a 6th-round pick, that's phenomenal. To go out and get you a offensive lineman, left guard, that's going to instantly be able to relieve some pressure and help out Trevor Lawrence. It's just, in my mind, I'm thinking of this as a great pickup for the Jaguars. And for the Vikings, they got a draft pick, but I don't really see it being that worth it. But since they weren't going to re-sign him, it's not too bad of a trade. Give them about a C+. All right. Now, this one is surprising. Okay, everyone that's watching, what the hell? San Fran does it again. How did they do it? No idea. Is the Commanders just losing their mind? Is the GM just out of his mind? I don't know. But this guy, Chase Young, was the second overall draft pick 2 years ago. They trade him for a third-round draft pick. Just think about that for a second. 2 years ago, he was the second overall. Now they're getting a third-rounder for the same guy 2 years later. Yikes. Well, we already know what this does to San Fran. It just bolsters their incredible defense that they have, except over these past 3 games, of course. But, it's just unbelievable. I can't believe that somebody of his caliber, second overall, just getting traded for a third round. It just doesn't make sense in my head. It just easily is the biggest trade so far that happened today. And I mean, for Washington, because he was on the last year of his rookie deal, it's not too bad because he had a lack of performance. He was on the last year of his deal, and due to injuries as well. Like, I understand why they moved on from him, but at the same time, only getting a third-round draft pick for the guy is definitely not ideal. I think that's all I got for this one, man. It's just a tough one to kind of explain and talk about. We just have to wait and see if he stays healthy with the 49ers. If he does, and he just goes out there and balls and makes everyone, like, pissed off at the Commanders because he's playing so well with the 49ers. 49ers fans got to be happy about this one. It's a chance, but you got him for a third round pick. Like, this is a guy that was drafted second overall. Like, the upside is there, right? But also for the Commanders, it's tough to say that they made the right decision here. Now, I would have to give this one A plus for the 49ers. A plus, absolutely, 100% A plus. Best trade so far that they made besides Christian McCaffrey. And then for the Commanders, I have to give them a D. I don't think it's worth any more than a D, to be honest. Like, the Commanders didn't really get much back for him. If it was a second rounder, I'm thinking, okay, like, that's makes more sense. A third rounder, yes, I understand the draft class is good. Yes, I understand he was on the last, year of his deal. Yes, I understand he's injury prone. Yes, I understand that he hasn't had the best performance. But I mean, he's only been in the league for 2 years. Like, you give the guy like a shot to do something. When he's fully healthy with your team next year, it just makes sense. Give him a deal that makes sense. That's not too high. So I don't know about this one. This one's tough, and I just see this as a loss for Washington. Other than them possibly getting out of something that wasn't good. All right, next one. We got the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns. Trade happened today. Detroit receives Donovan Peoples-Jones, whereas the Cleveland Browns receive a 2025 sixth-round draft pick. Okay. I have no problem with this one, except for the Browns. The Browns didn't really use him. He wasn't that big of a guy that they needed on their squad. Deshaun Watson hasn't been there, so we haven't really seen what their offense has been able to do. But I gotta see this as a W for the Lions. Think about it. Like, yes, they have Jameson Williams, and yes, they have St. Brown, but adding another wide receiver just instantly boosts their offense, because we've seen sometimes where St. Brown's getting doubled, Jameson Williams having a slow start. Like, we got to see some pressure be relieved off of St. Brown so we can get him more involved than he currently is. If he gets more involved, we're looking at a offense with the Detroit Lions that's just unstoppable, right? Even if he gets double teamed, now you have a guy that can fill that spot and that can get open and catch those passes for you and get down the field. So that way it relieves some pressure to St. Brown, and it also relieves some pressure to Jared Goff. Big W in my eyes. I see this as an A. Definitely an A for the Lions, and then for the Browns, I'd have to give them a C. All right, and the last one we got here before we get into some games about Week 8, we have the Buffalo Bills. Finally, they made a move. I thought this one was never going to happen. All right, so we got the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers. This trade happened today, the last one that happened of Halloween trade deadline. So we got cornerback Rasul Douglas that goes to the Bills and a 5th-round draft pick. And then Green Bay only gets a 3rd-round draft pick in return. Well, so far this season, we've seen Buffalo not too great defensively. We've seen them like pretty good, but adding another piece to their defense just ultimately makes their team even better, even more. Trying to think of the word for this one, even more like scarier, if that makes sense. Just a better team overall. Everyone's going to be looking at this trade and thinking, the Buffalo Bills just added another cornerback. Their defense just got better than it already is with all that defensive talent surrounding. This has to be looked at as a W. So grade A for the Bills, and then for the Packers, a grade B. I just don't understand. I understand they're not going to be competitive this year, and they might give up going for, the division title. They might have just lost hope because they have some quarterback troubles over there. They have some running back troubles over there. Some just overall offensive troubles in the Packers. So I think, for them to be sellers is not a bad idea. But for a 3rd rounder, I don't know. Got to give this a grade B, just because it's a 3rd rounder off of a guy that's on an expiring contract next year. Grade B sounds about good in my head. So grade A for the Bills, great pickup, and then for the Packers, a grade B, getting more draft capital back in return to use in a really, really nice 2024 NFL draft class. All right, now we get into some games, guys. What everyone's been waiting for. Week 8. Let's pull this up for you guys. All right. Starting off, Thursday Night Football, everyone knows. what fan I am, what team I am a fan of. The Buccaneers. More like the Succaneers. We suck. We suck. That's just period. Like, that is it. That is all I can explain to you guys. We suck. I don't know what we can do to be better. I was glued to my phone all day today trying to see if we picked up anybody in the trade deadline. No one. No moves. 3 losses in a row. It's just unbelievable in a very competitive NFC South. Like, we're in second place now. Like, we're going to make a move. We make a move today. Go pick up a running back. Go pick up somebody. We saw the Bills. What did they do? They went out, free agency, went out, picked up Leonard Fournette, a guy who, in fact, knows our entire program, who's been with us for 2 years, and has shown us that playoff Lenny still lives. But instead, you know what we do? We go pick up nobody. It's embarrassing. We have like the worst running in football right now. We have no running game. Rachaad White is only utilized in the screen game. So for you guys, it might be looking like, yes, he's putting up numbers. Yes, we have a decent running game. No, he doesn't run the ball. Like, he's been used in the screen game. We need somebody like a Derrick Henry, like a Saquon Barkley, who are, in fact, on the last year of their contract. Yes, I understand Derrick Henry is a little bit older, but we need a guy like that that's gonna bolster what we do on the ground. It's embarrassing, and I can't stand it. To watch Baker Mayfield throw more passes than Tom Brady is incredible. I just don't understand why we have so much faith into Baker Mayfield. Why are we not running the ball? Well, it's because our running game sucks. Everyone's seen it. On Thursday, it was on display for everyone. What do? We run the ball for 1 yard and it gets stopped. It's just embarrassing. It was an embarrassing display. And the only thing I can say about this is the Bills almost lost this too. So the Bills aren't out of this as well. They clearly needed to make some moves, because if Chris Godwin turned around at the last play of this game, who's to say he doesn't catch that and we win the game? So I believe this is an embarrassment for both teams. I thought the Bills should have had this easily. Easily, they should have won this. By 2 touchdowns or more. How bad we were playing, they should have won this by 2 touchdowns or more. I don't understand how they made it so close. But, I mean, Josh Allen looked incredible. He looked incredible the first half, and then the second half, he was kind of slumping. All right, so let's get on to the next one. I can't really talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Buccaneers game too much. Get way too passionate, way too upset about it, because we suck. And Buffalo Bills fans, you should be saying the same thing. We suck. All right, now we got the Texans and the Panthers. This score was 13-15. The Panthers, Bryce Young, he looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, you had the duel between the rookie quarterbacks, first round pick and third round pick for CJ Stroud, going against head to head. The last time they versed was in 8th grade. CJ Stroud just didn't look like his usual self. Bryce Young looked better than his usual self. Adam Thielen is a goddamn beast. And he's reminding y'all why you should have picked him up in fantasy. What a great performance from Adam Thielen. What a great performance from the Panthers. Great win. Finally won their first game, and now there's no more teams without a win in the NFL. That's all I got about that one. Rams and Cowboys. Wow, did the Cowboys delete the Rams? Wow, did CeeDee Lamb absolutely show up? CeeDee Lamb is incredible. That was an amazing performance. And let me also add, those were some tough grabs and some tough hits he took. Nevertheless, he got back up, kept playing, and they were feeding him. Dak was feeding him the entire game. Tony Pollard, absolutely invisible. It was the CeeDee Lamb show over there. And great job for him, to be honest. It was way overdue for CeeDee Lamb to actually show us something. And then for the Rams, where was Puka? Where was Cooper Kupp? Where was Matthew Stafford? They just didn't show up until late. And it was way too late. Unfortunate loss for the Rams. They were trying to get back into competitive. To try to be competitive. 3-5 now. It's going to be tough to see what they do, especially now that Stafford is questionable with the thumb injury. We don't know his status. We don't know whether or not he's going to be playing next game. If he does, they have a good chance to win it anytime that he's on the field. They just have phenomenal offense, great defense. Although they're 3-5. So we'll have to wait and see if they get to 500. If they get to 500, we might talk about them a little bit more. As of right now, the Cowboys just look great. We'll have to see what that looks like against next week. Philadelphia Eagles. In my mind, that's going to be the best game next week. Can't wait to see it. All right, next game, we got the Vikings and the Packers. Vikings lose. Guess who? Kirk Cousins. He was out for the remainder of the year with an Achilles injury. This is crazy. I watch football every year with you guys, and I cannot understand why there's 2 quarterbacks going down with an Achilles. Third Achilles on the year for players in the NFL. 2 of them happen to quarterbacks. Wow. Just wow. What are you going to do about it? Like, the Vikings just got competitive again. Like, they just got back to 500. And then they lose their quarterback right when they're about to get Justin Jefferson back. Man, I feel for you guys because now you're going to be looking at Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs, man, on the Vikings. Man, what is Justin Jefferson going to look like? What is Madison going to look like? What is Cam Akers going to look like? What is Jordan Addison? Like Hawkinson. Like, what are these guys going to look like with Dobbs? I just think they're going to fall below 500 again. And guess what? The Lions get a free one in their division. It's just unfortunate, especially because you guys fought your way back. Literally went 0-4, and now you're 4-4. Like, we see the potential. Like, these guys have been fighting really hard to get back into competing for the division. And then they lose their quarterback like that. That's just a tough blow for them. I feel for them. It's like that every year. I feel like they're always having something go wrong that just causes them to not be competitive and inevitably lose. Then we got the Packers. The Packers are 2-5. The first 2 wins were like the beginning of the year, and then they just slacked the rest of the year. Just 0-5. Only scored 10 points this game. What can I say about this one? Jordan Love just doesn't look good. It's very unfortunate, especially because like they had high hopes for him. He sat under Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Like everyone thought that Jordan Love had plenty of time to learn, understand, and play the game at an extremely high level. But instead, what we're seeing is interceptions. He averages almost an interception a game or more. He has a bunch of rookie receivers, and they are growing. Except Christian Watson. And we saw Christian Watson last year with Aaron Rodgers, and what he did was unbelievable. Like, great numbers, great piece, and he's just invisible. He came back after that hamstring injury, invisible afterwards. It's just really weird. I don't know how I feel about their offense. It's a lot of question marks there, and I don't understand Matt LaFleur's play calling as well. Now, why didn't they trade Aaron Jones? Why did they not free this guy? They're using A.J. Dillon 50%. 50% with a healthy Aaron Jones. Only being used on third down and short on screenplays. I just don't understand. You have a all-pro running back, Aaron Jones, that has clearly shown us that he's RB1 over the years. And why is he just not playing? He should be at a 75% load right now. Like, he should be playing 75% of the snaps. Absolutely. 100%. 75% of the snaps. Jordan Love cannot be throwing the ball that much. We see this. He cannot be throwing the ball this much. We need to see Aaron Jones in the action. We need to see him running the ball, and we need to see him utilized in the screen game as well. More. We see him get those first downs. We've seen it this past week. Why are they not doing that more? It's just very weird. I don't know how I feel about the Packers, and I don't know how I feel about Matt LaFleur. All right, let's get into the next one. Next game, Colts and the Saints. The Saints finally have an offense explode. 38 points. That's the highest of their season so far. 27 points from the Colts. Honestly, that's one of the lowest. These Colts have been scoring like crazy. Their offense has been rolling. 27 points. Good enough to beat a team, but man, did the Saints have it rolling. Alvin Kamara. Holy moly, man, does this guy get used more than any other running back in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey, doesn't matter. No other running back matters. Alvin Kamara has solidified how valuable he is as a running back. He is the clear-cut choice for running back one in fantasy anywhere because of his usage. He is getting the most usage out of any other running back right now. Look it up. Fact check me. He is being used in the passing game, in the running game. Any like trick play, he's been used almost like 80% of snaps. It's just incredible. This guy is an extreme athlete that's just a powerhouse when it comes to getting the ball in the end zone and getting the ball down the field. And a first down, like, automatic guy. Next thing we need to talk about for the Saints is Shaheed. An invisible Olave and an invisible Michael Thomas. And don't get me wrong, yes, they're good. They make some good plays. But why isn't Olave the one catching those deep balls down the field for a touchdown? Why is it Shaheed? Is he getting the better matchups? Is he not getting double teamed, etc.? Is Chris Olave pulling all of the safeties to him? Is Michael Thomas getting more pressure than he thought? I have no idea. But it looks like Shaheed might be the number 2 wide receiver for New Orleans. And wow, like this guy is fast. Like he burnt that guy for that touchdown. That touchdown was incredible. He looked amazing. And he's been doing it for most of the year so far. He's been showing up those other wide receivers on the Saints. And honestly, he is borderline wide receiver 2 in fantasy now. Borderline. And then for the Colts, Gardner Minshew just can't stop throwing interceptions. And that's pretty much all I have for that one. Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, 50-50 split still. Zach Moss is just a powerhouse. And I don't understand why he wasn't traded as well. When you look at how much money they gave Jonathan Taylor, you would think that they made a decision over who was going to be their running back 1. But it's clear to me now that there was no moves by them moving one of the 2 guys. It seems pretty clear that we now understand what they're trying to do this year. They're trying to go a 50-50 backfield split with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. And honestly, it's been working. So I don't know why they didn't trade him for maybe an asset next year, etc. But I'm not, sitting down with their team. I don't know the full details on it, but it seems to me like they're going to have a split field backfield, coming up late to finish this season, 50-50 split between both of them. We'll have to see how that looks. Both crazy good, crazy athletic running backs that are powerhouses as well. All right, next game we have the Dolphins and the Patriots. Dolphins are 6-2, now in first place. Well, I mean, they kind of already been in first place, but first place 2 weeks in a row. They put up 31 points against the Patriots, and the Patriots scored 17. We all know the Patriots are 2-6 and are not competitive enough to do anything this year. So they're going to look towards the draft. Why didn't they make any moves today to maybe capitalize on some of their pieces, capitalize on draft picks? I don't know. Maybe Bill Belichick believes in tanking this year. It's not a far stretch to say that he might think about it. They're 2-6. Got a lot of nice pieces to look for in the 2024 draft. Why not tank and get you a quarterback that you can rely on or that you could train for the future? And we all know Bill Belichick's way, and that seems the most likely. Now we have the Dolphins. I don't really have too much to say about them. They've looked like they've always looked the entire year. Just the offensive powerhouse. Like Mostert, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle. Like they just have crazy offensive weapons. And when they're going up against a defense that really isn't top 10, it's going to be a 30-plus game. It's just what it is. Like nobody can catch Tyreek Hill. He's just too fast. And Tua just knows how to feed him. That's all I got for that one, man. I wish I would go more into detail about the Dolphins, but honestly, halfway through the game, it looks like the game's already over when I'm watching the Dolphins. All right, so next game, we have the Jets and the Giants, 13-10. The Jets win this one by a field goal. Is it a stretch to say that this game was the worst game in the NFL this week? I mean, I think they had 24 punts. Yes, they had 24 punts in the game. There's more punts in this game than points on the board. 23 points on the board, 24 punts. If you guys are interested in watching the ball get kicked 24 times, go ahead and tune into the highlights of that video. I will not be turning into the highlights of that video. This game was like boring as hell. I had like every 5 seconds, every 3 plays, there was a punt. It's just no offense in this game. Honestly, there was no offense in this game. Jets fans, be happy though. You're 4-3. You're above 500 now. You're competitive enough to possibly take a stab at making the playoffs this year and possibly getting Aaron Rodgers back as well. Be in high faith. It can happen. Medicine is better now than ever before. We could see Aaron Rodgers make a return back before playoffs or even before then. You know, we could see him back week 13, 14, 15, 16. Like, we don't know yet, but, like, there's a possibility that he comes back and he plays in the playoffs. And if that happens, we have to say that the Jets still look good enough to win. Defensively and offensively. I understand Zach Wilson is the head of it right now, and that's why their point average scored is low. But that completely flips with Aaron Rodgers. So let's go ahead and say that, great jobs to the Jets, and we'll see what happens. And then for the Giants fans, after making the playoffs last year, I feel so bad for you guys. 2-6. That's what you got to show for it. 2-6. 2 quarterbacks are injured. Tyrod Taylor is out. Daniel Jones is out. You guys really have no faith in this year. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you for not wearing your jerseys out. I don't blame you for burning your jerseys if you have one. I don't blame you for hating on the coach. I don't blame you for not showing up to games. It's just a sucky season, and I would love to say that it's because of unlucky circumstances. But really it's just bad performance. And we saw it last year. Last year, tough start, then started, making a comeback. This year, tough start, not making a comeback. Wins 2 games out of 6. It's just looking like a fully complete disaster for their team, and they need to hit the drawing board and think about the draft next year. That's all I got to say about it. Who's to say they don't draft another quarterback? It's a chance, possibility for sure, and we'll see what happens. Daniel Jones, even when he was on the field, their offense looked terrible. Their offense, debatably, now this is my take, their offense looked way better with Tyrod Taylor. And I know you guys can argue with me that he had that one great game against Arizona, but it was against Arizona. Tyrod Taylor has shown more than Daniel Jones this year. And I don't think that's a stretch to say, and I think many people would agree with me. So maybe back to the drawing board, maybe draft a quarterback. We'll see what happens next year in the draft. And there's a lot of unanswered questions there. Next game we got the Jaguars and the Steelers. Boy, what did I say last week? I said Travis Etienne is a fucking beast. Look at this man go. Not only is he a good running back, but we just saw him catch the ball off of a route for a touchdown. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, so what? He's an NFL player. He's a great player. He can make it happen. I don't think a lot of you guys understand how hard it is to run a route as a running back, get past your defender, catch a ball, and make a touchdown happen. We don't see it unless you're Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, like a couple names where you could say that they catch a ball and they run for a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, and period. That is it. Now we see Travis Etienne do it, and that just boosts their offense even more. It just allows their play calling to be even more dynamic and involve different schemes of their offense. And we see that with the Jags. The Jags just look phenomenal offensively. They have Calvin Ridley, they have Christian Kirk, they have Travis Etienne. Like, these guys are the real deal. And Trevor Lawrence is feeding them. Christian Kirk more over Calvin Ridley for sure. At least lately that we've been seeing a lot of more usage out of Christian Kirk than Calvin Ridley. But Calvin Ridley is still very heavily used in some of the first games that we watched. And also, he is that deep ball threat. So with him on the field, it just causes more pressure to be relieved off the other guys. And then Travis Etienne, of course, absolute beast, unstoppable, 4 games straight now with a touchdown. And I gotta say, these Jaguars are the real deal. They're making playoffs. And who's to say they don't make a shot at challenging the Chiefs in the AFC Championship? We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like this team is very good. Every single time I watch them, I have a feeling, because I've seen the first couple games, and they just did not look good. They did not look like the team that we're looking at now. And I just gotta say, man, against the Steelers defense, Travis Etienne going off like that, it just shows you how good they actually are and what their team is gonna look like in the future, and possibly even make it to the Super Bowl this year. Then we have the Steelers. Steelers, great defense. They're still 4-3 after this loss. Only put up 10 points on the board. We know Kenny Pickett isn't really that great this year in particular. He's been replaced by Trubisky, I believe, twice now. And my oh my. Offensively, they need to get a running back. Najee Harris, Warren, these are not the guys. We need to see a solid running game from the Steelers in order to relieve pressure from Kenny Pickett to allow him to target Pickens. Get that guy the ball, man. Like, he will make plays for you. So they just need some offensive line help. They need some running back help. And then I see them being competitive in the future. As of right now, they're 4-3, above 500. But also, they won some games off of their defense alone. 2 of their games, by far, were won by their defense. By TJ Watt. So I can't really say this team is amazing. Just because 2 of the games came from pretty much defensive plays. Defensively, they look great. Offensively has been their struggle the entire season so far. Let's see if they can pick it up. As of right now, I don't see the Steelers being competitive enough to win that division. Especially with how the Ravens are playing, with how the Browns are playing. Like, they got a lot of questions and a lot of concerns there. They got to start winning games if they want to be competitive, because that's a tough decision, or a tough division, and they just need some more work, need some more players. Next game we got the Falcons and the Titans. Derrick Henry and the Titans. Rookie quarterback. They win. Not really much to say about this one. Desmond Ridder still sucks. I hold my statement from last week. He still sucks. I don't see him as a starting quarterback in this league. And I don't believe that many of you guys should see him as a starting quarterback in this league as well. I thought Marcus Mariota was better. Kyle Pitts was okay. Tyler Algier was okay. Bijan Robinson, okay. Like, I don't really see the Falcons taking the NFC South. But for some reason, they're still in first place. And they scored more than us. 23 points. Like, as much as I hate the Falcons, and as bad as they've been averaging turnovers every game, they're still better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's miserable to say that. For the Titans, they did not trade Derrick Henry. Everyone thought he was going to be traded, including myself. I thought, what the hell, Bucks? Go pick up Derrick Henry. Well, we didn't do that. Nor did any other team. Their intention was not to trade him or Spears, which is weird to me because they have Spears and they have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's taken about 60% of snaps-ish from game to game, but then there's games where he only plays 30% of snaps. So they have this thing where they run the hot player, and then Spears will get hot. They'll run him for the rest of the game. Derrick Henry will get hot. They'll run him for the rest of the game. Similar to the Colts, where the Colts have Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. They're utilizing their two running backs to do the same kind of thing under a not so great quarterback with Ryan Tannehill. But he gets injured. Tannehill goes down. Rookie goes in and gets it done. Great win. 3-4, almost 500. We needed the Falcons to lose, so thank you very much. And that's all I got for that game. Another good game we have with the Eagles and the Commanders. Eagles go up to 7-1 as the best team in the NFL since the Chiefs lost. They score 38 points. A.J. Brown, a monster. What a monster performance from the guy. He is that guy. He is clear wide receiver number 1, and they better keep him long term. The Titans let go of a good one, man. Wow. These last 2 years, what he has done for the Eagles is just incredible. Record-breaking. Wow. That's tough, man. When you give up a wide receiver like that, and then he goes out to another team and explodes, just absolutely explodes, career highs every year, just putting up 125 yards plus each game, just a complete domination when it comes to wide receiver. And wow, their offense just looks incredible. Their defense looks incredible. They just let go one of their guys, but also they got some pieces for next year's draft. We're looking at this team being a really good team for the next 3 years plus. And then we got the Commanders. Sam Howell went off. Dotson went off. Finally. But they lose the game. Eagles somehow always find a way to win. And we see this with great teams. When it comes down to it, even when you're behind, you still find a way to win. Those are the teams you want to talk about. Those are the teams you want to follow, because those are the teams who are going to make it to the Super Bowl. When in doubt, you could trust the Eagles. When in doubt, you can't trust the Commanders. They're too much of this, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. And there's something about the Commanders versus the Eagles. Every year we see this. Very competitive game, very high scoring, and the Eagles always win. I don't really have too much more to say about that game. And just, the Eagles are 7-1. They're on their way back to the Super Bowl if this follows from last year. They're on their way back to the Super Bowl, and if the 49ers haven't been playing as bad as they've been playing, I would say they're still number one in my eyes. But the clear number one pick in the NFC now is the Eagles. We'll have to see if the Cowboys can, somehow beat the Eagles. But if the Cowboys lose next week, it's just the next team they verse is San Fran week 13. So that's the next test they have after the Cowboys. If they beat both of those teams, they're 100% the favorite to win the Super Bowl. The favorite. They go out and beat the Dolphins. If they go out and beat Dallas, then they go out and beat San Fran. Is anybody questioning them being number one in the NFL? I'm not. And I think most of you aren't either. All right, let's get into the next game. Running low on time. I'm going to try to pick this up a little bit more, a little bit faster. We got the Browns and the Seahawks. The Browns are missing Deshaun Watson. They have their backup quarterback in, only putting up 20 points. Not too bad, but also not great as well. We saw Kareem Hunt run in that touchdown. Good for him. Kareem Hunt getting more value. Jerome Ford just didn't look 100%. I believe he still got a little ankle sprain. So that's why Kareem Hunt is mostly on the field. Amari Cooper was used in this game. Got some great first downs. Had a long ball thrown at him. The Browns still look good. The issue is, can Deshaun Watson stay healthy for their team? He needs to be on the field. With Deshaun Watson in this game, they win. I truly believe it. I truly believe that Deshaun Watson and the Browns, they have a winning season, and they make it to the playoffs. Without him, not a chance. They're still above 500. They're 4-3. And then the Seahawks, Geno Smith finally gets a win after losing their last one. They're 5-2 right now, first place in their division, scoring 24 points. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Kenneth Walker, great assets on their team. We see this with great teams. The teams that are winning right now have great pieces in each position. Two nice wide receivers and a nice running back paired with a decent offensive line or above average offensive line just makes it so much easier for Geno Smith to throw the ball. He has so many different options he can go to. He has his read 1, read 2, and then he has his check down with Kenneth Walker. And I mean, this team has been winning, and they've been doing it for 2 years. I don't think they go anywhere. I don't think this team goes anywhere within the next 3 years. I think they stay competitive, and they make it to the playoffs this year. Next game, we got the Ravens and the Cardinals. Ravens scored 31. The Cardinals scored 24. Very surprised that the Cardinals were able to score 24 on a really good defense with the Ravens. Ravens are now 6-2, first in the division. Really, I don't have too much to say about this game. They just have phenomenal players. Mark Andrews, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, and Gus Edwards, I believe. But Gus Edwards is a RB2, so really I thought the Ravens was going to be more into the trade deadline today. I thought they would be more interested in getting a running back. And I'm sure they made an offer for Derrick Henry for sure. The Titans just didn't want to trade him away. But really, that's all that's missing from the Ravens. They get a really good running back. Their team just looks like the Eagles. So great win for the Ravens. This one was probably the most expected. Everyone saw the Ravens winning this one. I don't think anybody really saw the Cardinals winning this one. We'll have to see what the Cardinals look like next week, possibly with Kyler Murray. We'll see. And then also we have James Conner coming back from IR. I believe it's week 11. So the whole squad's going to be back together week 11. So keep your eyes out for that one. We'll have to see what the Cardinals look like with both of them too back. Now we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. This one was the most surprising. Who had the Broncos beating the Chiefs the way they did? 24 points? Seriously? 24 points. I'm just lost out of word. Like, I'm lost. I really am. I don't know where this came from. Broncos must have pulled this out. 2 games ago, week 6, they versed the Chiefs. The Chiefs deleted them. 2 weeks later, they verse again, and the Broncos delete them. And they don't use anything on the trading block today. No trade talks. Sean Payton came out and said, we're good with the team we have. I got to believe him. They're 3-5 now. 3 straight. 3 straight wins from the Broncos. Congratulations to them. They beat champs of last year, the Chiefs, and only held them to 9 points. I don't give a flying, you know what? I don't give a flying, that Patrick Mahomes was sick. 9 points, only field goals, no touchdowns. Pacheco, no touchdown. Travis Kelce, no touchdown. Rashee Rice, no touchdown. It was just the worst. This game was very confusing. I just didn't understand why the Chiefs couldn't score. Maybe it's because Sean Payton, after that first game with them, just realized, oh, I know how to play them. We play them this way, they can't score. And it worked. Credit goes out to Sean Payton, 100%. And Russell Wilson, I believe he did have that one fumble. Like always, he's always fumbling the ball, but just still, great effort. Great effort, the Broncos. They really needed to win this one to boost their mentality, to boost their team, to possibly get them above 500. They're 2 games away. It could still happen. They have an easier schedule going out. This team doesn't look too bad. Give them a year or 2, and maybe they're very competitive enough to make it to the Super Bowl. Now we got the Bengals and 49ers, my game of the week. What did I say to you guys last week? What did I say? I told Sammy this. Happy birthday, Sammy, by the way. I told everyone this. The Bengals show up middle of the season. Who's to say they don't beat the best teams that are Super Bowl favorites right now? Who's to say they don't go out and beat the Seahawks? Who's to say they don't go out and beat the 49ers? Who's to say they don't go out and beat the Bills next week? Who's to say they don't win that division outright and just go on a huge winning spree? 3 in a row from the Bengals. 3 in a row. Can they keep it up? T. Higgins is back healthy. He looks phenomenal, catching passes, getting it done. Jamar Chase getting it done like always. He's been always. But the biggest surprise to their offense had to be Joe Mixon. Got him involved. Got a touchdown. He's feeling great. This team looks great offensively. And what did I say before? All the teams that are successful, 2 great wide receivers, and what? A great running back. And we see it get done. So let's see what happens with the Bills and the Bengals next week. But I got the Bengals, and I ain't going anywhere else. I think the Bengals are looking great. I think they're going on a winning spree, and I don't think anything can stop them right now. They are on a roll. 31 points against the 49ers with their defense. That's incredible. Huge statement. And I mean, a lot of people had the 49ers. Even Sammy were like, Sammy goes, nah, there's no way the 49ers lose to the Bengals. Absolutely no way. The 49ers are just going to take this 100%. Well, guess what? Not only did Brock Purdy throw 2 interceptions, they lost the game and only scored 17 points for the 3rd game in a row. Oof. That's all I got to say about that one, man. Big kudos to the Bengals for getting it done. 4-3 now on the season. Above 500 finally, and they scored 31 points on the 49ers with a terrific defense. And the 49ers have been held to 17 points for the past 3 games now with losses. And if you guys don't remember, the first 5 games of the season when they went 5-0, they scored over 30-some points each game. The last 3 games, 17 points. We see a trend here, and it's not a good trend. It's a very negative trend. 17 points is not good enough to be a really good team, and we see that here. So they got a bye week this coming up. We'll see what they do. They go against the Jaguars, who have been rolling. 4 straight now, longest victory, longest active streak in the NFL right now, and we'll see what happens with that one. Brock Purdy better not throw an interception. If he does, this game might be looking just like how we saw the Bengals and the 49ers play out. All right, next game we got the Bears and the Chargers. Tyson Bagent from Shepherd, my hometown, Martinsburg, West Virginia. That's incredible. I can't believe a quarterback from where I went to high school is in the NFL. Nuts. Small town. Nobody thought that this guy was going to be starting. Justin Fields went down. He came out, played a phenomenal game the first game. The second game, threw a really head-scratcher interception. I was kind of wondering what he, saw there. Like, it just seemed like he was confused when he threw that ball. Like there was a mirror in front of the defender there, the corner there, and he couldn't see him. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that throw. But other than that, he was playing okay. Just not great football, but we can't really expect too much out of him. He hasn't really had too much time with the starters out there. So their team falls to 2-6. We'll look and see if Justin Fields is back on the field next week. As of right now, I think it's still Tyson Bagent, and we'll see what happens for them the rest of the year. I was very surprised they weren't on the trading block, but also, they were on the trading block, but I was very surprised that they didn't go out and get a better piece or weren't more on the selling side. Then you got the Chargers, finally look good. Again, they're 3-4, almost 500, 30 points on the board. Great job from them. They need to keep this up, but also they weren't really versing the most competitive team, the Bears. But 30 points, nevertheless, good enough to beat any team in the NFL. They just got to keep it up, stay healthy, and we'll see what they look like in the future and see if they're able to make the playoffs. All right, last game, Monday Night Football. I hate the Raiders. And I know everyone that took Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers in fantasy right now aren't the happiest. What was that offense the first half? Just like there was 6 yards of offense. 6 yards of offense in the first half? You gotta be kidding me. You have Davante Adams, you have Jacoby Myers, and you have Josh Jacobs. They have the players they need to win a game, to be good offensively. But yet, 14 points, all in the second quarter, by the way. The first quarter, Josh Jacobs, and then the second quarter, the next one. But 14 points? Really? Davante Adams not really getting utilized. They don't trade for they don't sell him and get another piece, get draft picks, get a offensive line that can maybe protect your quarterback more so he doesn't have to make stupid throws all the time. Maybe get a better offensive line so you can help protect Josh Jacobs and get him more involved in the ground game and get him gaps that he can run through. We saw this last night. Every gap that he was trying to run through was closed. There was no blocking for him. He had to make his own gaps and scramble to the open field. Every single time they ran a design play for him, he ran over to the right. There was nothing there. It was completely closed. He turned around and boom. He's already hit. He's already down and loss of yardage. You hate to see this when you have such great players and great pieces in an offense, and you hate to see an offense struggle like the Raiders. I don't believe their struggling is over. I think their struggling continues. They were versing a good defense, but it got exploded last week by the Ravens. The Lions got exploded last week by the Ravens. The Raiders have a good offense, at least on paper. Why can't they score? I don't know. Tough one. Raiders fall to 3-5. The Lions are now 6-2. Still top of the division. Raiders, I don't know what's next. You know, this team looked better with Derek Carr. I'm just gonna go out and say it. Jimmy G has averaged a interception like every game. And they're not even the good it's not even a good interception. It's like the interception that happens because of a dumb throw. Like he didn't realize there was a safety back there and just lofted it up to Davante Adams, giving him a shot. But did he even give him a shot? It was off target, underthrown, and easy interception, easy pickings. I mean, just really a head scratcher throw. If he would have put it in the back right pylon, sure, good throw, gives Davante Adams a chance. Who's to say he doesn't catch that for a touchdown? But just the placement on the throw wasn't the greatest, and we saw the result. And really, you know, that's been the storyline and the headlines of the Raiders. And honestly, everyone was checking in on the trade deadline today and seeing if Davante Adams was going to get traded, seeing if maybe Jacoby Myers or somebody would have been traded from their team so they can get some offensive line help, save Jimmy G a little bit more, give him more time to analyze the reads and see if their safeties are coming up, see if their safeties are dropping back, see if Davante Adams is getting double teamed, maybe even triple teamed. You know, just having more time and then giving more space for Josh Jacobs to run down and run through openings and get down the field. Their running game is not great. It hasn't been great all season. And if it wasn't for that touchdown by Josh Jacobs, he'd be irrelevant. Great win for the Lions. Tough loss for the Raiders. And that's it. That is it for the week, guys. That is it for week 8. If you guys have anything you want to talk to me about, we can talk about it. But as of right now, this is the standings in the AFC. We have the Dolphins in first place, the Bills in second. AFC North, we have the Ravens in first place, and then everyone else in second. We have the AFC South, Jacksonville Jaguars in first place, and everyone else second. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs in first, everyone else is in second, and we see this a lot in the AFC. AFC is very competitive. Second place is tied right now in pretty much every division. NFC, you have the Eagles in first place, Dallas in second, and then everyone else. NFC North, you have the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, and then everyone else. And then you have the Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks. NFC South, Saints win one, so now they're tied with the Falcons. Falcons lost. So the Falcons and the Saints are tied for first, and we are in third, pretty much. NFC West, we have the Seahawks, and then the 49ers, and then the Rams. Seahawks just now took first place from the 49ers. Who saw that coming? Not me. Seahawks are 5-2. San Fran is 5-3. Wow. What a year so far, guys. It's been enjoyable to watch every single week and give you guys my input, Sammy's input. I'm sorry he's not going to be available for you guys to talk to today, and you're not going to be able to see him on the podcast today for this week, week 8. But hopefully we can have him back for next week. Next week, we got some great matchups. Tune into that Tuesday, 6 o'clock. I'm going to be here again, going through all the details that maybe I missed. We'll talk a little bit more about trade deadline, the moves, if they worked out, if they didn't work out. What can you expect from the draft next year? You know, we'll throw in the details, all of the news that come up week to week. We'll also go through detail of all of the games that we think were great and that we wanted to talk about. And then other than that, guys, if you guys haven't already, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.